Hi and welcome to this series where I'm going through the ITIL 4 practices individually and I'm giving you the main headline points that you need to be aware of in order to help build your base ITIL 4 knowledge. I'll also be discussing some of my real world application of these practices in the various organisations I've worked in. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and click the bell to get those updates. Okay, so let's get to it. Today I'm going to be covering off the service catalogue management practice, which is from the service management practice. A reminder, a practice is a set of organisational resources designed for performing work or for accomplishing an objective. ITIL 4 moves the emphasis and the focus more on practices to the individual organisation, to the company, in order to implement more specific processes that are going to work in your particular ecosystem, in your particular environment, and of course the needs to your customers. There's three types of practices: general management practice, service management practice, and technical management practice. This is going to be talking about the service catalogue management, which is in the service management practice. So first off, let's square off some terminology. So purpose. The ITIL 4 Foundation Edition talks about the purpose of the service catalogue management practice is to provide a single source of consistent information on all services and service offerings, and to ensure that it's available to the relevant audience. There's lots of good stuff in there that I can't reiterate enough, just from a practical perspective. So a single source of information, for example, or consistent. So you can probably gather I've worked in environments where there isn't a single source of information, or there isn't consistency there on those services and those offerings. And more to the point, it's not always available, or if it is, it's not always available to the right people. So, a really good purpose statement about providing a single source of consistent information on all services and service offering, and making sure that it's available to the right audience. Request catalogue, so that's a view of the service catalogue, and that provides details of service requests for existing and for new services, and that's made available for a user. So if we just think through a bit more around the service catalogue management practice, it's a list basically, and it's within the service catalogue. It shows what's available. It's worth pointing out that it is a section. It's a subset of what's available overall within an organisation's portfolio. So you would have a service provider portfolio or a service portfolio, and then it's really important that you make sure the descriptions are clear and that they're provided to the right audience, or to your right stakeholders, or to your right customer. We'll come on to that in a bit more detail later, but really the point there is make sure the descriptions are clear and they're relevant to your target audience. You're going to have different sections of people that will, perhaps some are more technical than others, or perhaps more business focused than others, but typically in the organisations I've worked in previously, it's a portal of some kind that's linked into an ITSM tool, but it can be a document or it can be a dedicated tool in its own right. I've certainly seen that in other organisations recently, where it's a separate tool and there's an interface into the ITSM tool as well. And it's a list of all the services within the service catalogue. It's important to make the point that it's not going to be applicable to everybody. So you're going to have different customers, you're going to have different stakeholders, different groups of organisations perhaps, or maybe it's even different countries or different regions. Maybe the services that are available in the service catalogue for EMEA are not available for APAC, for the sake of argument. So just be aware of that, and there's going to be different views that you'll come across. So the three views that you want to be aware of is the user view, the customer view, and the IT view. So a user view provides information on the service offerings that can be requested, and provisioning details from the user's perspective, from the user's view. The customer provides perhaps information around service levels, or how much does it cost? What are the financial implications of this? The performance, how well does it work? What kind of items do I need to be aware about in terms of the performance? And then you've got the technical view on life. So you would have an IT view that may provide technical, compliance, regulatory, security type stuff in order to deliver that service. So that's your service delivery element. It is important that you don't split those views out too much, that you end up with a separate system, if you like, for each view. So you don't want to be isolating anything, I guess, is really what I'm trying to say. That you want to try and avoid, you've got three separate type systems. You want a consolidated view, you want a single view, you don't want any complexity in there. The other point really to be aware of is that make sure it's a focused view of what consumables are available, how you order it, what the elements are of that service offering. So think through your request catalogue. Typically, in this practice, ongoing activities for your products and services would be the publishing of it, the editing of it, so keeping it up to date, what's available, which are the current ones, which are the retired ones, perhaps certain versions have been updated, perhaps, or there's a different model type of some kind. It's not Model 1 now, it's Model 2, or the version of the software is a different version. And perhaps some of those services may be not available anymore. That could be that they're just retired. They've gone down into a sort of they're being sunsetted, if you like, or they're just generally required, or they've been replaced by a new version. And you've got the maintaining activity. So the three kind of bullet points, if you like, in your head, thinking around ongoing activities, should be around the publishing, the editing, and the maintaining. What's available. How do you get it? What's the scope of it? What's the cost of it? Availability questions like, is it available now? Or if I order it now, how long is it going to take? What are the lead times? What about the usage? What about the services, the service level agreements? What are the terms of it overall for this service or for this product that you're providing? I'd give a nod to kind of the service owner here. So when we talk about roles, again, think just going back to role competencies for a sections for a second. You have different types of role competency profiles within ITIL 4. You have leader, you have administrator, coordinator, methods and techniques, and tech experts, subject matter experts. Just think through the roles that are involved, that you need involved in this area. A service owner is clearly someone you would want to involve. And then just a nod around consistency. So make sure that when you're creating your catalogue, and when you're defining a service, it needs to be simple. It needs to be business facing. So you need a business facing description of the service. Perhaps you may even be speaking to the business to say, what's the best way to describe this? What's the availability? What's support hours? What is the actual process for requesting it? Are there any special considerations around service levels? Are those service levels consistent globally, or are they different in EMEA than they are in APAC? Again, for the sake of argument. Just really make sure you've got the right people involved in this. There's sort of a customer facing element to it. There's a technical element to it as well. My experience of service catalogues in different organisations have relatively been the same, in terms of there's a portal of some kind. Maybe that's a ServiceNow portal, again, just totally for the sake of argument, that there's a portal that a user, a customer can see, and that maybe that's on their intranet, then they place a service request of some kind. So they've got their list of available services, and they go, yes, we need that. So maybe it's a computer or a laptop or access or some kind of additional enhancement or service. So they place that request, and then typically you will see some kind of workflow automation, some kind of approval element. So there may be a cost for this device. So if we say a computer as a really good example, clearly there's a cost associated there. So there needs to be a workflow element to that says, okay, well, if this person has requested a laptop, that there needs to be an approval element. Maybe that might go to their manager, and then people would be assigned to that to deliver that service and then execute the various activities in order to make that happen for the user. And certainly in a lot of organisations I've worked in, there will be service level agreements in that workflow as well that says, okay, well, from the point of you ordering it, or perhaps from the point of it being delivered, there might be a 5-day lead time. Finally, if we just think through some of the KPIs and the CSF metrics that I've seen in use, some are quantitative, some are qualitative, to be fair, but typically you're going to see things like most ordered, most requested, the count of services, how many tickets are logged against each service, for example, or the accuracy or customer satisfaction. Final parting point really is on the service value chain. As with a lot of elements within the service value chain, so the planning, improving, engaging, designing, transition, obtaining and build, deliver and support, service catalogue management touches all of those elements, but there would be a special nod to the engaging activities. So the service catalogue will enable strategic as well as operational as well as tactical relationships with your stakeholders, with your users, with your customers. And clearly there are interfaces there you might want to think about where in terms of relationship management, request management and service desk, of course. Okay, thank you very much. Please do subscribe.